All right, welcome, yogis. Let's get started on our backs this morning, either with those knees bent, feet to the earth, or starting out in Shavasana. And then as we settle into our mat this morning, take a moment to close your eyes, inviting your mind to settle into your body. And just begin the process of turning the mind and all of the senses inward, practice we call pratyahara, or sense withdrawal. So starting by closing the eyes and then allowing your attention awareness to settle in on your breath. And with each breath, start to imagine yourself detaching from the outside world of uncertainty, chaos, negativity, darkness, whatever might be showing up in the world. We just slowly start to make that separation and giving ourselves this next hour to reconcile anything going on within ourselves, physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically, as well as spiritually. And so as you find your way home into your own body through the breath, start to meet the body as it is this morning, paying full attention to what the body is sharing with you in terms of sensation. And then just mindfully holding your attention or awareness in that body part or parts for just a moment. As a gesture of truly being present, being able to listen and honor the needs of the body. Whatever is showing up this morning, can you make peace with whatever is showing up in the body? Whatever sensations reveal themselves through the practice. And perhaps affirming, I accept my body as it is today. And I'm willing to listen and accommodate to what it needs to feel even better than it does in this moment. And then bring your mind to a point of intentional focus. And by doing so, we make peace with all the various thoughts, distractions, worries, concerns, temporarily letting them take pause as you unplug from that noise and tune in to your own word or statement on that mental level that can help find your way back to center, back to that place of observation, back to that place of peace and focus. And as we bring our minds and bodies together this morning, individually and collectively, the heart center, take a moment now to feel your way into your own heart. And I'll be repeating this throughout the movement practice, but also bringing it back around in nidra and meditation. And these are the words of the great yogi, Paramahansa Yogananda, who was one of the great yogis responsible for bringing the teachings of yoga to the West way back in the 20s. And so letting these words resonate in your heart, and if they resonate, you're welcome to repeat them silently to yourself. In this moment, I'm in a temple of quietness. Peace fills my body. Peace fills my heart and dwells within my love. Peace within, without, everywhere. Infinite peace surrounds my life and permeates all the moments of my existence. Peace unto myself, peace unto my family, peace unto my nation, peace unto my world, peace unto my cosmos. So now more than ever, on this path of yoga, we are reminded of the power we all have to literally be the change we wish to live in the world and to really embody that. And we're all imperfect in our human form. And while we're all perfect and infinite in our spiritual form, the idea is to find a balance between our physical life and our spiritual life. And I know for myself, when the human world doesn't make sense to me, I take great refuge and seek out that peace by connecting to the divine. So however you pray, however you connect to God, to the divine, tune into that now and invite that presence into your practice. Invite that presence to guide you through this day. And With that, let's start to move this peace from our minds and hearts through every cell, every inch of our physical space. Perhaps imagine that peace radiating from you into your environment, your home, your family, your community. And we'll just allow that ripple of peace to move from our hearts and minds the next hour as we come home to the truth of who we are, spiritual beings in this physical experience, which is temporary and limited. So let's come back to the breath now. Inhale deeply. Exhale, let it go. And then gently bring your knees one by one into your chest. Eyes can be opened or closed, and gently rock your hips side to side. So at any time, you're welcome to come back, of course, to your own intention or focal point. But if you find those thoughts moving into negative territory or stressful territory, just come back. Peace within, peace without, peace everywhere. And then as you bring those knees back to center, let's place a hand onto each kneecap. Press those knees out, open them wide apart, and slowly move those knees back together. And then see if you can slow this down and really notice the nuance of sensation that's showing up through each part of the movement. And then as you bring those knees together that next round, take it around the opposite direction, circling in the opposite way. As you just notice what range of motion is available through these hips this morning, and what sensations you're beginning to release to the back of the hips and that lower spine. And then next time those knees come together, let's make smaller circles now, keeping the knees together. Just making a small circle in one direction, fine-tuning that awareness now right through the sacrum into that back of the pelvis here. And this is an area of the body that can be a little sensitized the more stressed we are. So massaging it, releasing it as you circle those knees the other direction. And then next time those knees come into the chest, take pause, deep breath in, exhale it out. You can either release those hands to the earth or transfer them to the back of your thighs. And let's wake up those hamstrings for a moment. Inhale, lengthen those legs any amount towards the sky. We don't have to get those knees completely straight. Exhale, bend. Now remember, as you press down with the hips and tailbone, that's when we're lengthening through the feet. So we're trying not to round that lower back. And that might mean we don't get those legs as straight. That's okay. So working within the framework of your alignment to get what we need from the physical practice. Let's take it one more time. Lengthen and bend. And then next time those legs extend, point the toes, flex the feet. Let's open into a V shape. Rounding through the core as you reach for the heels. Exhale, squeeze those legs back together. Take that 2 more times. Inhale, open. Exhale together. Again, if you want more core, wake up here. We can do this movement without the arms. Let's take one more. And then as those legs come back together, hug the knees into the chest and rock it out side to side. And then as you plant those feet to the earth, let's set up for our first twist of the practice, windshield wiper style. Step those feet as wide as you can, perhaps wider than the mat. Bring your arms straight out from your shoulders in a T shape. So it can ground through the shoulders, start to release that upper back. If you like, you can also bend those arms, but if that pulls and strains at all through the shoulders or neck, you're better off with straight arm. Deep breath in, let your belly expand. Exhale, let your knees go left. As you keep that right shoulder grounded, turn your chin and gaze to the right shoulder. Now, if you feel pressure in the knees, either lift the knees slightly from the ground and or go wider with your feet. We shouldn't feel pressure in the knees or the actual spine, so adjust accordingly. And then as we pause here in the twist, gently turn your head to the left, turn your head to the right, unclench those teeth. So we shouldn't be clenching down on those teeth. Really, teeth should only touch when we're chewing something. So you can keep that softness in the jaw. Turn the head side to side one more time. As you expand the breath fully into those right ribs. And then next time the head comes to center, bring the knees with it. And then take it to the other side. Inhale here at neutral. Exhale, knees to the right, head to the left. And you might just keep your head stable here, or if it feels okay, turning the head side to side without moving any other part of the body. Those shoulders stay grounded. And then next time the head returns to center, bring the knees with it and offer a full breath in. Exhale it out. Bring the knees into your chest. Rock it out. And then we're going to deepen that twist, getting into a little chest and shoulder neck release. So as you plant those feet back to the earth, let's scoot the whole body to the right. And then come to lie on your left side. Knees are stacked, hips are stacked. Either support yourself with that left arm and hand, or you could use a little pillow or blanket if that feels better. But remember, it's essentially move the head with the heart, right? With that arm, with the chest. So bring that right arm out in front of you, fingers spread wide. Keep your gaze on the right thumb. As you inhale, reach that right hand up to the sky. Exhale, opening into your twist. Head and heart moving together here. Inhale, arm reaches up. Exhale, bring it back down. Now be mindful here, our goal is not to touch that shoulder to the ground. So keep those knees together. They might kind of shift slightly apart, but we're not actually lifting that right knee in order to go deeper into the twist. So just work within the framework of the alignment here as we twist from the navel, and then we come back up again. So stay in motion with your breath. Let's take at least one more. We inhale, reaching the arm up. Exhale through those strong core muscles into the twist. And then you're welcome to stay here or add on based on what's showing up through the shoulder, upper back. So if you're adding on, next time that right arm's in front of you, sweep it up overhead, making a big circle as you bring that arm all the way back around. And again, noticing if those teeth start clenching down or you're keeping that head from moving, you're actually going to create more tension in the neck. So let that go. And then just see where that sensation is showing up through this movement. And then feel free to pause anywhere along the way that might be helpful to give the body a little bit more time to release into what you're offering. And so when we think of this idea of peace in yoga and Sanskrit, it's Shanti. And peace really is present within us when we can live from our heart and get out of the head, get out of the ego trap of separation, judgment, criticism. And when we come back to that beautiful blessing of namaste, it's one thing to say it. It's a whole nother thing to live by it, to use that as your prayer each day. And we don't justify the actions of evil, of darkness. We choose to stay in the light. Why? Because we're going to be a lot more useful in that space of peace, in helping the world, helping ourselves, than we are in fear, anger, retaliation. And that's the real lesson that we're here to learn, right? And that's the hard part of this practice, because we are emotional, we are human. We get attached to what we think is right or wrong. And so constantly it can be a powerful practice to hand it over to God, to the divine, to a higher will, when it doesn't make sense to our smaller self or our human self. So take it around one more time. And then next time that arm returns in front of you, let's just pause. Deep breath here. Long breath out. And just notice what showed up on that first side. Can you make peace with any sensations, even if they were uncomfortable or there are limitations? It's coming to a place of acceptance. And then slowly roll onto your back. Hug those knees in for a moment. So before we take that next one-sided movement, just neutralize everything here. Bring it back to center, knees in, rock it side to side. And then let's explore that second side. So feet to the earth, shift your body to the left, and then roll into your right side. Again, stacking the knees and hips. Support your head in whatever way feels right for you, and then reach that left arm out in front. On the inhalation, reach up, lift that left arm. Exhale, opening into the twist. So again, right away, we might notice something very similar or different than that from that first side. So just taking your time, meeting this side as it is, as you come in and out of that twist. And just noticing as we keep those knees together, then we get a chance to really wake up through the mid and upper back that we would lose if we came out of alignment, right? If we just let that shoulder come down, and then we won't get the same effect. I'm really trying to open up any tightness that is showing up through the ribs, right? Through that thoracic spine. And then after you've taken a few rounds of this, if you want to add on, let's do one more. Inhale, reach up. Exhale in that twist. So next time that left arm comes back out in front of you, if you're adding on that circular movement, inhale, reach the arm overhead, and then a big circle all the way around and down. So feel free to bend that elbow, let the hand hover above the earth. Most importantly, let the head and neck move. A big problem that is being reflected in our world very loudly is this disconnection from the heart. Too many of us spend way too much time in our head. And remember, with the energy system of the chakras, one of the reasons for neck and shoulder tension is that disconnect energetically from the higher wisdom of our intuition and higher mind, and the deeper wisdom of our heart, which has been recognized through personal experience. And so it's time to reintegrate head and heart, body and spirit, so that we can start to move toward peace within ourselves, our families, our nation, our world. Let's take it around one more time. And then as you bring that left arm back in front of you, let's take pause. Breathe in, breathe out. And then slowly return onto your back, and let's hug those knees in again before we come on up. Rock it out side to side. And then coming back to center, deep breath in. Exhale, option to lift your head in towards those knees. And then return, head to the earth. Let's plant the feet to the ground. And then before we come up, let's wake up the back body, building a little heat here. We're going to work with rolling bridge. So if you have a block and you like to use that, or one of those fit balls, the squishy balls, place that between your knees and or thighs. And that'll help to stabilize, finding that grounding through the feet, the legs, to help support the movement of the spine. And then direct your gaze right above you, so you're not tempted to move your head or your chin up or down. And then anchor down through your elbows, the back of your arms, and actively press those shoulder blades into the ground. And as you do this, notice how it lifts your spine a little bit, like you're doing a back bend. Now tuck the tailbone under as you scoop the core in. So we have that spine pressing to the ground. Grip that block or ball. And then on your next breath, slowly rise up. Press into the feet. Grip through the legs. Feel the hamstrings and glutes helping you to lift. Exhale, we slowly roll down. So the pose is not dropping the chin to the chest and pushing the neck to the earth. And if you can feel the difference here, it shouldn't feel any pressure in your neck or shoulders if we're using the right muscles here to lift and lower. So stay in motion with your breath, rising on the inhale, opening, expanding that heart space. Exhale, we slowly descend. And then coming back to that mantra, peace within, peace without, peace everywhere. Every great thinker, every great spiritual teacher, the sources I have connected to and read, every single one of them, the common thread is peace is an inside job. And until each individual can be at peace more often than at war in their own minds, their own hearts, their own bodies, and their own lives, only then will we see that reflected back to us as peace among our nations and peace in our world. So it's not an impossible prayer, but it does require that we arrange things inside of ourselves. And then the world will rearrange itself around that inner state. So let's take it one more time. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, slowly lower down. And then keeping that blocker ball between those thighs for another moment, stretch your arms straight out into a T shape where we just were a moment ago. You can always bend those elbows. And then lengthen your chin towards your chest without actually lifting the head. Turn your head to the left. So you're angling your chin towards that left shoulder. Open and close your jaw or your mouth a few times. And then gently feel that subtle release of the right shoulder reaching into the earth. Breathing into that freedom you're creating through those neck muscles on the right side, as well as those jaw muscles that get overly tense and tight when we're stressed. And then inhale, bring your head to center. Again, just gently tilt your chin towards your chest, and then slowly turn your head to the right. Opening and closing the mouth, hinging from the jaw as you gently press that left shoulder down. Breathing into the release through the left side. And then inhaling, bring that head back to center. One more breath here. Let's move that block off to the side. And then bring the knees in the chest. We're going to prepare to come up. So as you rock side to side, your choice to just roll to one side and press up. Or if that spine feels comfortable, we can take a little spinal rock. Let the shoulders release back and down. And let's come on to all fours into a tabletop position. But we're going to work with puppy pose right after we go through a few rounds of cat-cow. So further waking up through chest, shoulders up or back. Ground those hands evenly so you can spread those fingers wide. And then on your inhalation, finding that rhythm of breath, meeting the movement, meeting the breath with movement. Exhale, round. Actively draw the core in. Empty, empty, empty. Inhale, pull yourself back up on that next breath. Exhale, let it go. And then just imagine these next few rounds, all the things that disturb your peace being flushed away on the exhalation. All the things that enhance and support your peace, imagine breathing those in with each inhalation. Peace, just like happiness, any other state of mind, state of being, is really an intentional, conscious choice. And it takes a lot of effort sometimes to stay focused, especially when there's so much pulling us to the outside of worry, concern, uncertainty, and fear. Now on the next exhale, rounding it back, press into child's pose. If you like, you can open those knees a little wider, maybe even shift side to side. And then just take pause in this humble gesture of surrender and come back to your own personal prayer or intention for this practice. And then in your mind, give peace a color. Maybe it's one of your favorite colors that is soothing and calming. And then imagine with each breath, we're moving that peace through our bodies. And with each exhalation, we're allowing that peace to move into our environment. So coming on up now, as you give peace that color associated with your breath, reach those hands towards the upper corners of your mat. You could even turn those hands slightly out. If those shoulders are really tight, you might just kind of turn that thumb out a little bit, or those fingers. And then go with as wide as you can with those hands, so it's more of a V shape. And then on your exhalation, keep that core engaged as you press back into puppy pose. Inhale, come forward. So those hands stay actively grounded as you reach and lengthen through the arms, pulling those hips in the opposite direction. And then just noticing what you're feeling, where you're feeling it. As you come back to the breath, imagine moving that peace through your own heart, your own awareness, your own presence. And then next time you come forward, let's pause. Let's bring those forearms down now. The arms can be parallel. They can be a little wider than shoulders. And then we're going to draw the hips back. Let your head bow to the earth, maybe right between those elbows. And if you want to add on, bring your hands into prayer position. So your head is on the ground between the elbows, and the prayer hands are lifted right behind your head. So we're letting ourselves rest on the elbows in puppy pose, releasing through the triceps into the underarm area. Keep coming back to your breath. Full breath in. Long breath out. If you've lifted those hands, bring them back down and lift your head, and then come on up. Press onto your hands. Inhale into that back bend or extension of the spine, and then exhale, curl the toes under and lift those hips and knees as you come into your first downward dog. And then take some time here to walk out those legs. Maybe you bring your hands and feet as wide as your mat. Give yourself a little bit more room to release, to soften, to expand. Maybe nod that head yes, turn it no, stick out your tongue and say ah, let go of any tension you're holding in the face. And this is a beautiful symbolic pose of getting that head below the heart. We spend way too much time in our heads trying to figure things out. When we can't figure it out, that's a good indication to drop into the heart and feel your way back home. To what's important, to what matters, to the compassion inside of you, and to the connection we all share, which can be really hard to find when we see a lot of things in the world that are opposing to how we choose to live and how we choose to relate. Let's take another breath here. Exhale it out. We're going to slowly make our way up towards the top of the mat. So from where you are, either child's pose or downward dog, let's take a moment to step forward. And then ease into your Uttanasana, forward bend. You can certainly support that lower back with elbows or hands to thighs, or let the body drape over those legs, roll the shoulders, release your head, and come back to your own intention for the practice. And as you bend those knees, hips descend, hands to the thighs. Let's come all the way up to stand. Roll those shoulders back and down. Head stacks on top. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, bring those hands together. Let's take a sun breath. Inhale, come on up. Reach those arms. Exhale, release and fold. Inhale, halfway. Flat back, open heart. Exhale, fold. And then slowly come all the way back up to Tadasana. Reach those arms to the sky. Exhale, hands to the heart. Now we're going to add on, we're going to go through a few rounds of sun salutation just to get to the hips and that lower back. And then we'll come back to stand for a few balance poses, and you'll have an option to add some arm movements or shoulder opening. So it's inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Plant those hands, step back with your right leg, and your choice, low, mid, or if you want to go right into balance here with high lunge, you can. But let's just pause here, letting those hips release forward and down. Feel free to prop your hands onto one or two blocks if that's helpful to keep that heart space open. And then if you focus your gaze on one thing, if you are certainly balancing, keep those eyes open or close your eyes if those hands are on the ground. And again, come back to that color that represents peace to you. And imagine moving that peace down into these survival fight or flight hip flexors that hold on to trauma, fear, and keep us stuck, immobilized. So imagine replacing that fear for just this moment with peace. Maybe just making peace with your tight hips. That's what's real. That's what you're feeling in this moment. Start to imagine those breaths, that peace moving into the tension, moving into the tightness, clearing away the limitation, clearing away the fear. And as I mentioned earlier, if we are stuck living in our head, then fear comes pretty easy. And if we want to operate from faith, from peace, it requires we live from our heart. And that in itself is quite a quest in this modern world, in our Western ways. On your next breath, bring those hands back down if you lifted them. And then let's release, sweeping that left leg around. And we're just going to go right on over to the other side. Right foot comes forward. Knee tracking over ankle. And then just try to match what you did on that first side if it's available, without forcing this second side into submission. Just seeing what's available. And then settling into this side, eyes can be focused on one spot or closed, looking inward. And again, imagine that word peace, sending it breath by breath with that color you have in mind. And to all of those parts of us that get stuck in survival mode, and parts of us that still have a fear around death or the ending of our human experience. And I've mentioned this many times, especially as we're working with the pandemic energies, that if we can reconcile our fear of death, it then creates a pathway to peace. And it doesn't mean we support the inhumanity and the acts of outrage in the world. It simply means that we make our own connection with spirit, with God, the divine, whatever way that resonates with us. And we surrender to that. We offer up a certain level of trust and faith in the unknown. And I find it for myself, I take great refuge in relief, knowing there's a higher energy, a higher power out there guiding and directing us. And I find it's easier for me to have faith in the unseen than to have faith in most humans or leadership in the world. But we have to remember, in human form, we're all limited. And we're here to remember that divine connection we all have access to. So let's take another breath here. Exhale it out. And then if you've reached those arms up, bring them back down. And let's slowly release. Bring that right leg back. And then your choice. You can pause in child's pose for a moment if you want to get into plank and move through your flow. Keep building some heat. You can certainly stretch it all out in downward dog. So take a moment to make the choice that feels right for you in this moment before we come back to our standing position and work with a few balance poses. And so as you're ready to come back up to the top of your mat, in the next breath or two, let's make our way there. Easing into your forward fold. Rinsing out those shoulders, let them go, let the head release. And then bend those knees. Let's transfer through chair pose to come all the way up. Exhale, hands to the heart. So one of the best tools we have in our yoga asana practice to bring the body and mind back together in a place of focus, neutrality, equanimity is balance. Right? Because we all know that if that mind isn't present, the body is not going to cooperate and we can't muscle our way through this. So let's give it a try. We're going to start with tree pose. Now you have a couple options. I'm going to add a couple arm variations if you'd like to work on releasing the shoulders. If at any time it's too much to do the arms with the balance, you can always choose to release the arms and shoulders just in Tadasana. Okay, so I'll give you that option to make that choice. With that being said, you can also set up near a wall. If you're feeling extremely unbalanced, then give yourself that support, a piece of furniture or a wall. And then as we start, spread the toes wide of the left foot. And then press that left big toe actively into the earth and feel what's happening with your inner arch. And then find that focal point right out in front of you and bring that right foot to the inner left ankle. So before we lift anything, let's get the breath established, finding that balance within so it can translate to our outer form. And then once the mind is established and focused, that breath is fluid, moving easily, face is relaxed, and you can begin to move that right foot any amount up that inner left leg. And we can pause at the calf, or maybe we want to bring that right foot to the thigh. One is not better than the other. Find the option that lets you keep that centered place within, meaning your mind stays focused, your breath keeps flowing. And then coming back, as we offer up the prayer to have peace within ourselves, we offer up peace for our families. We ask for peace to move through our nation. We ask for peace to awaken our world. So part of what we can do with all that's going on in the world is to recommit to our practices of self-care, our practices of prayer and meditation. And I've been re-inspired. I just went through the Bible called Autobiography of a Yogi. It's about 500 something pages. And for me, when there's things going on in the world, it's really helpful for me to stay grounded and in that place of presence and peace and trust and faith by reestablishing my spiritual practices, right? Or diving head on in, right? To a good book that serves as a reminder, daily meditation practices, inspiring newsletters. And we all have the ability to tap into those sources in whatever way they find their way to us. Well, we can't change the outer world. This is a reminder that it's time to go back inward and arrange what we can inside of ourselves. And let that be a contribution, an act of prayer and offering to the world. If you've come out of it, come back in if you'd like, or you can choose to step into Tadasana at this time. We're going to come into eagle arms. So if you want to work on just the shoulders and let go of the balance, you can certainly place that right foot down. So that right arm under the left, this might be enough right here. We could also cross those wrists. And then breathing into the back of your heart. So it's believed that the back of our body represents our subconscious mind. And so breathing deeply, I start imagining offering that breath, that vibration of peace into your own subconscious mind and your own heart. And then if you'd like to lift those elbows, again, open that line of vision so that you're not obscuring your focal point. You can lift and lower those elbows. And then as we lower those elbows, let's open up those arms again. Right foot, right leg comes out in front of you. Lengthen out as you press in that foot. And say hello to the power you just created through this left side. Walk it out. And then circling or lifting and lowering that left heel. Stretch out the arch. Oh, that good productive sensation. Bring those feet back to life, even if it's uncomfortable. Let's circle that left ankle each direction. And then pause, coming back to Tadasana. Take a full breath in. Exhale it out. And let's take that to the second side. Shift weight into your right leg. Before we lift this left foot, press that right big toe down. And then establish the focal point with your gaze. Come back to the flow of your breath. And then as you're ready, let's move into tree pose on this side. Left foot along the right leg. And either stay below the knee or take that foot to the thigh, above the knee. And then coming back to that mantra, that affirmation, peace within, peace without, peace everywhere. But in this ego trap, we think the outer world needs to change before we can find an inner peace. And until we get it the right way, finding that peace first on the inside, and that becomes reflected on the outside. So I'm reminded of the words of Mother Teresa, a great saint and yogi of the Catholic order. She didn't believe in war. She believed in peace. So even a subtle adjustment of thoughts can make a big difference in what we ripple out energetically. And she once made the announcement she would never attend an anti-war rally because she didn't believe in war, and what we push against just gets bigger. She said, but if you change the words to pro-peace, I'll be there. So it's subtle but profound. Now, if you're adding the heart opening here, you wish to come out of tree pose and stand firmly in Tadasana, go there now. And if we're adding the arms, right arm on top this time, and following my lead, maybe we stay here or we cross those wrists. And breathe. And if you're adding that balance challenge of lifting and lowering those elbows, you're welcome to even just release those hands apart so you can keep that focal point. And then if we're offering those eagle arms, let's slowly release. Next time the elbows come to the chest, open the arms back out. And then bringing that left leg out in front of you, gently lengthen, press through the heel. And release. Left foot to the earth. Let's lift the right heel and lower a few times, stretching out the right foot. Come back to your breath. Circle that right ankle. And release. And let's pause, coming back to Tadasana, taking a full breath in and a long breath out. And with this next one, you have the option of clasping hands behind you. We're going to come into Warrior 3. So grounding down through the left foot again, bend that left knee and extend your right leg back. So the idea is to keep those hips level rather than opening once you lift that leg. And as you keep it bent in this left knee, we'll be less likely to lock out the knee joint, and we'll work better with strengthening the thigh muscles. So from here, let's lift that right leg, If you want to add on, you can clasp those hands behind you. Again, you might just want to take this into Tadasana. So giving yourself what you're needing and or tuning into what's available. And then wherever you are, you can slowly lean forward as that leg comes up, if you choose to go a little further. And then as we come all the way back up, right knee lifts, you can unclasp those hands, lengthen, and release. And walk it out. And can we make peace with how balance might be showing up this morning? So our reactive nature, right, is really what we're trying to become aware of and gain control over. And the more we react, the more we are robbed of our peaceful state. So let's come on to the second side, bend that right knee, left leg comes back. Find your focal point. And then when you're ready, again, we can clasp the hands here. Keep the jaw relaxed. Face is soft. Making peace with however balance is showing up in your body and mind today. And as we come all the way back up, slowly, gracefully, bring that left knee, unclasp those hands, and release. Left foot to the earth. Let's walk it out. Inhale, shrug those shoulders up to the ears. Exhale them back and down. Let's just take a little twist before we come back to the earth. Bend those knees and just let those arms flap side to side. And then as we come back through center, take your time to step to the top of your mat, hands to the heart. Come back to your prayer for your practice, your intention. And then inhale, reach those arms up. Exhale, empty it all out, let it go. Release and fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Plant those hands, step it back, and find your way into whatever you'd like to do next in your plank. Move through your vinyasa. Perhaps you want to go right into downward dog or child's pose. And then we'll all meet in child's pose when we find ourselves there. Time is flying. Let's offer another breath in and a long breath out. And then once you've made your way onto your knees in child's pose, let's come into one more shoulder release before we make our way toward our nidra practice. So from child's pose, we have those knees together or apart. We have a little bit more room if those knees are apart to have a neutral spine rather than a rounded spine. Have your block out in front of you if you want to support your head. Not necessarily, you can always keep that head lifted. Take your left arm, bring it under the right. So thread the needle. I'm not a fan of how this is taught oftentimes with the weight in the head and the neck, so you can feel free to take whatever option you'd like. But if we're trying to release tension in the neck, this is a good one to follow. Press into that left hand. You can just keep your head hovering, even looking towards the earth. You could also support your forehead on that block or the left side of your head. But the idea is to start stretching out through that upper back area to release the neck. So if you're pressing gently through the back of your left hand, press gently with your right hand. So it's just a subtle hint of a twist. And then breathe into where you're feeling a stretch, most likely through that left shoulder blade, upper back area. One more, inhale. Exhale. Now as we come out, press into that right hand, lift on up with the head, bring that left arm off to your side so you're twisting to the left, and then release. Left hand comes down. Let's take that second side, right palm face up, slide that arm under. So we have a straight line from hand to wrist. We're not forcing the shoulder to the floor, right? Just allow the body to tell you where it can go. And then making peace with that as we breathe into it, whatever's showing up. Again, adjust the head and neck to what feels comfortable. And if we're taking a little further, we actively press into right hand, press into left hand or fingertips. And then breathe. Feel your way into the body by focusing your mind on where that sensation is showing up. And then on that next breath, press into both hands. Let's slowly come out of the twist. Open your right arm to the sky, and then bring that right hand back down. Scooting forward, come into plank, or one more downward dog. If you want to take one more vinyasa, feel free to do it. And then we're going to make our way onto the earth once again, knees to the floor. Sit back onto those heels. Let's shift the hips one way as those legs come around in front and shake them out. And big toe bones touching. Bend those knees. Inhale, reach up, arms to the sky. Exhale, bring those arms down to the earth as you fold forward. Belly and thigh connected. And then letting the head bow to your heart. And turn your head side to side. Roll those shoulders back and down. And then reconnect to your own dedication for this practice. And with that next breath, lift the head. Bring those hands back behind you and shake out those legs. And then if you like to work with a little restorative bridge before we move into Nidra, then have that block right beside you so you can easily reach it once we are reclined. Scoot towards the top of your mat. Hands to the back of the thighs. Inhale, rock forward, leading with your heart. Exhale, rounding halfway down, chin to chest. One more. And then as we exhale, coming all the way back down, gentle descent, hug those knees into your chest and rock side to side. And small circles to the right. And small circles to the left. And then as we come back to center, plant those feet to the earth. And you can certainly just pause here for a few moments in constructive rest. Or we can slide the flat, wide blocks. We don't want it on the highest or mid setting, the flat setting. You can slide that block right under the hips, the glutes. Not under the lower back, so it should be just below your pant line, that pelvic bone, so you're not on the lower back itself. And then we can pause here for a few moments. You can also bring those arms back out so they're even with the shoulders if that feels good. And then wherever you are, let's just take about 5 deep breaths here. With each breath, feel the weight of your body releasing into the block or into the earth. As you again come back to that affirmation on peace. Peace within, peace without, peace everywhere. And then we could also add the more peaceful I feel within myself each day. The more quickly the world will reflect that peace back to me. By choosing peace, it does not mean we don't care. It does not mean we don't feel pain. It means we choose to have our faith rather than our fears guide our life. So your spiritual practice is a personal relationship that you have with the divine intelligence behind all creation. And what we're seeing in the world is a big reflection of how disconnected we all are spiritually. In our world, there is so much emphasis on material advancement that we've all become spiritually impoverished. And so again, I've become inspired over these last few weeks to recommit on a whole new level to my own spiritual awakening on behalf of the whole. because that's all that I have the power to do. It's really all the power each of us has to do. By using that power, we realize that we are powerless and that there is only so much within our control. And so one of the mantras we've worked with throughout the years, which you are all aware of, is not my will, but thine. Please help me reconcile this madness. Please help me return to the peace in my heart. And so let's offer another breath if you're still here. Let it go. And as we prepare to let that block be released, I know that was more than 5 breaths, but maybe we were breathing really slowly, and that was exactly 5 breaths. Let that block come back out from underneath you if it was there. And then make any final movements, maybe a windshield wiper twist, maybe happy baby, or simply just bringing knees into chest. But give yourself something to release that back bend if you're in it. And then settling in, again, we can come into our constructive rest or Shavasana. And as we prepare for a Nidra practice, offer any supports, props, anything that would be comfortable and helpful for you to let go of all movement and return to stillness. And then once the body is settled, let's close the eyes. And we're going to do another little exercise taught by Yogananda, just a tension release. So take a deep breath in and then make tight fists with your hands, tense up your whole body, just isometrically squeezing those muscles, scrunch up your face, and then exhale with that double exhale and let it all melt away. And let's do that again. Inhale, tense up the body, tense up the face, hold the breath. Exhale into 2 parts as you release. Let that tension move. And one more. Inhale, tense up the body. Hold the breath. Double exhale, let it all go. And then direct your awareness at the center of your forehead, the third eye, which is also referred to as the spiritual eye. And being able to see through the eyes of spirit rather than getting locked into the eyes of being human. And in that inner place of seeing, connect with your intention. What I've said resonates and you want to work with that, you can simply offer peace within, peace without, peace everywhere. Whatever that focal point is for you, offering it up at least 3 times. And then coming back to that color you connected with earlier that represents peace to you. And imagine moving that color, that vibration of peace, Shanti, into every part of your body as I mean it. Let's start with the right hand. Imagine, sense, and feel that color, that vibration of peace moving into your right hand, your right thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger. And imagine that peace moving into the right wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, right shoulder, the right side of the chest, down into the ribs, the right abdomen. Relaxing, releasing as you send that vibration of peace down into your right hip, down into the right leg. Really letting go of all the things that are not peaceful within your body, mind, and heart. Imagine it being flushed away through the bottom of the right foot. As you feel the right ankle, foot, and all 5 toes becoming more relaxed in this peaceful state. And affirm to yourself, I'm at peace with the right side of my body. My right side is relaxing even deeper now. And focus on your left hand, seeing it clearly in your mind. As you imagine that color and vibration of peace moving into your left hand, the thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger. The palm of the hand, back of the hand, relaxed. And that peace moving into the left wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, left shoulder, left side of the chest, ribs, abdomen. Sending that vibration of peace and calm down into the left hip, all the way down into the left leg. Really letting go through the ankle, foot, and all 5 toes. As you imagine anything but peace being flushed away and moved into the earth. As you affirm, the left side of my body is more relaxed. I'm at peace with the left side of my body. You can become aware of the top of your head. Sending that vibration of peace to your crown chakra. As you feel the top of the head relaxing and releasing. The back and the sides of the head letting go. And imagine that vibration of peace moving through your brain, moving through all of your senses. Relaxing, releasing the eyes as you send that vibration of peace into everything you see today, everything you hear, everything you say, and everything you think. May we be filled with peace. May we think from peace, speak from peace, and be at peace. And feel that moving now all the way down into your neck and throat, sending the vibration of peace into your throat. Relaxing, releasing the tension, the nerves and muscles here. Relax the shoulders all the way down through the arms, fingers. Imagine sending that vibration, that color of peace from your brain all the way down the length of your spine. Offering peace to your entire nervous system. And imagine that peace then being fed into every organ, every gland, every tissue, every muscle, every fiber of your being. Peace. Now see your whole body, mind, heart, spirit vibrating with peace. As you imagine that color now emanating from your own body, filling the whole room that you're in, the space that you occupy. Whether you're indoors or outside, just imagine that peace spreading as far as you can possibly imagine. Peace within, peace without, peace everywhere. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Taking a moment to place your hands, one or both, on top of your precious heart. We come back to where we began. Repeating this to yourself. I am in a temple of quietness. In this moment, peace fills my body. Peace fills my heart and dwells within my love. Peace within, peace without, peace everywhere. Infinite peace surrounds my life and permeates all the moments of my existence. And so today we ask to be blessed with peace unto ourselves, our families, our nation, our world, our cosmos. And remember that as we keep our peace present within our own minds and hearts, in each moment we are contributing to the peace we seek in this world. So thank yourself for showing up. Thank yourself for doing this work. And be mindful of the powerful contribution you are making to the world in doing so. So with that, begin to deepen your breath. And a smile spread across your face, being remembered and reminded of all the beautiful blessings and miracles still present, even amongst the darkness. And so as we go about the day, may we choose peace as a priority for self and others, in our own lives and relationships. And then as you're ready, stretching those arms overhead, coming back fully and completely as you prepare to come up into a seated position. And while we're running short on time, let's at least offer the vibration of peace here in the ending of our practice. And with those eyes closed, bring the palms to touch in prayer position, Anjali Mudra, that gesture of connection and union. And we'll offer up 3 Shantis. Shanti, the vibration of peace. Deep breath in. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May we be guided today with peace in our minds, peace in our hearts, offering peace to all of those in our presence. And in this place, we allow our faith to be stronger than fear. We call upon the divine intelligence to guide us through. And in this place, we bow together as divine reflections of each other. And in this place, we are one. From my heart to yours and the hearts of the world, namaste.